In the quiet heart of a sunlit workshop, where the air hums with the rich, earthy perfume of pine resin and sawdust, a young woodturner stood before a forgotten corner. To an untrained eye, the pile resting on the concrete floor was nothing more than timber offcuts, discarded remnants of past projects, destined for the fireplace. But where others saw waste, the young craftsman saw infinite possibilities. He knelt down, running his thumb over the rough edges of the wood. His vision was not to carve a single block, but to weave a tapestry from fragments. He carefully selected his palette, the deep, fiery crimson of reclaimed paddock, the pale, creamy elegance of white ash, and the rich, somber brown of dark walnut. These were not just different species, they were contrasting tones of nature waiting to be harmonized. Before a single tool touched the wood, the magic began on the workbench. The artisan prepared his bond, a high-strength, two-component structural epoxy resin, meticulously measured to ensure a crystal-clear, indestructible join. Then came the true secret of segmenting, the geometry. Layer by layer, he cut the tiny wooden blocks at precise 45-degree angles, arranging them into interlocking rings. He didn't simply stack them. He rotated each ring by a calculated fraction, creating a spiral sequence. As he brushed the gleaming epoxy over every surface, he clamped the assembly together using heavy-duty iron bar clamps. Under immense pressure, the individual pieces locked into a single, dense, multicolored cylinder. At this stage, looking at the blocky, rugged exterior, no spectator could ever guess what geometry was sleeping inside. It was a secret kept safe within the wood.
Đóng ba cái rồi mình lấy được.
After 24 hours of curing, the block was as solid as granite. The craftsman mounted the heavy mass onto the faceplate of his lathe. He flipped the switch. The motor roared to life, spinning the block at thousands of revolutions per minute. The room filled with the rhythmic breeze of spinning timber. He gripped his high-speed steel bowl gouge, anchored his hips, and gently brought the razor-sharp edge into contact with the revolving wood. Fine ribbons and ribbons of multicolored shavings rained down like confetti across the workshop. As the squinged edges melted away under his confident hands, a breathtaking illusion began to emerge. The calculated placement of the blocks revealed itself. Intricate, zigzagging diamond patterns started to dance across the curving silhouette. The natural grains of paddock, ash, and walnut twisted together in a seamless, hypnotic wave. Every millimeter shaved off brought out a deeper level of contrast that felt almost digital in its precision, yet entirely organic in its soul. With the inner cavity hollowed out and the outer curves refined to a graceful, fluid silhouette, the mechanical noise stopped. Now silence returned, and the delicate work of tactile perfection began. The woodturner took sheets of sandpaper, starting from a coarse 150 grit to strip away microscopic tool marks, gradually progressing through 320, 600, 1000, and finally 2000 grit for wet sanding. His fingers moved tirelessly over the spinning form, feeling for the slightest imperfection. With each pass, the texture transformed from raw timber to polished stone, perfectly smooth to the touch.
Làm chân gì? Mà này làm chân bây giờ không?
The final act was pure alchemy. He dipped a soft cotton cloth into a natural hard wax oil and applied it to the vessel. The moment the oil soaked into the dry wood fibers, the vase seemed to awaken. The ash glowed like silk, the walnut deepened into liquid chocolate, and the pedoque burst into vivid flame. The segmented patterns popped with stunning 3D depth, casting optical illusions under the overhead lights. Standing beneath the warm glow of the studio lamp, the vase was complete. Nobody looking at it could ever imagine it was born from a pile of trash on a concrete floor. It was no longer just wood. It was a story of patience, geometry, and passion carved into form.
Kéo ấy một xí nữa. Bóc rồi. Đặt nó không ra nhỏ để nào đó. Cố nè. Rồi, được rồi. Có chỗ bật để chờ bật bóng để anh chờ. Cho nó đi. Cứ quay thôi đi. Ito lagi. Ngayon lang yan. Ito na. Để được.